Hello guys, myself Assistant Professor Gaurang Prajapati from Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. My Today I am going to continue the topic of design of gantry girder of the subject design of steel structure 8th semester civil engineering. In the previous video we have covered the theoretical portion of this chapter. Okay, now in this design we are going to cover the design criteria of the gantry girder. Okay, so let's start it with the design. Say. See, example number 1. Let's see the data. Example number 1. See, a gantry girder of 6.2 meter span is to be designed for the crane capacity of 260 kilonewton. So a gantry girder is there of the span 6.2 meter. Okay, so span of gantry girder, that is 6.2 meter, designed for the crane capacity of 260 kilonewton. So crane capacity is given to us 260 kilonewton. Moving forward, the effective span of the crane girder is 18 meter. So span of the crane girder is given to us, that is 18 meter. Weight of the crane girder excluding crab is 210 kilonewton and weight of the crab is 65 kilonewton. So self weight of the crane excluding trolley, or we can say crab, that is 210 kilonewton, and weight of the crab, or we can say trolley, that is 65 kilonewton. Take clearance as 1.2 meter. Clearance means it is a hook approach. Okay, it is the distance at which the hook is placing over the crane girder from the gantry girder. And wheelbase, that is 3 meter, that is wheelbase 3 meter. Choose suitable section and check the bending stress and the deflection. 14 marks, May 2019. Okay, so now over here self weight of the crane girder rail section is not given to us, so I have assumed the self weight of the rail section, that is 300 newton per meter, and yield stress of the steel, that is always taken as 250 newton per mm square. So this is the data given to us and we need to design a gantry girder for that one. So for the gantry girder, let's start the design with the step number 1, that is maximum wheel load of the crane girder. So for that one, let me show you the first of all the theoretical criteria sketch. Okay, say this one is the crane girder. See, right now what we are going to calculate, we are going to calculate this wheel load of the crane girder over the gantry girder. So we need to take this whole crane girder as a beam section. This will act as our beam, and we need to calculate this wheel loads, means we need to calculate these reactions. One reaction means it includes two wheels in it. Okay, and a load, or we can say the hook, is spacing at the distance of hook approach. Okay, so for that one we need to calculate the point load as well as all. Okay, so let's start the design. See, first of all, step number 1, that is we can say maximum wheel load, okay, of crane girder. So for that one we have taken crane girder as a beam. See, this one is the span of crane girder, that is 18 meter. Now first of all I need to calculate this point load. Okay, so for that one, point load equals to crane capacity plus weight of trolley. Now crane capacity is given to us as well as weight of trolley is also there. Crane capacity 260 and weight of trolley, that is 65. Okay, so let's do the summation of those two. Say crane capacity 260, weight of trolley is 65, answer is 325 kilonewton. So this one is our point load. Now it acts at the distance of, we can say, hook approach. Hook approach is given to us in the data, that is 1.2. See, this point load is placed at the distance of hook approach from the starting point of the crane girder, means it is acting over here at the distance of hook approach. Now we need to calculate this self weight also, this UDL load. So weight of the crane girder per meter. Okay, so for that one formula will be self weight of the crane girder divided by span of crane girder. Now self weight is given to us in the data, just a minute. Self weight of the crane girder, that is 210 kilonewton, you can see over here. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so over here self it, okay, it is a printing mistake, it is 210 divided by we can say 18, that is the span of the crane girder. So ultimately 21 by 18, so our answer will be 11.67 kilonewton per meter. So that's our UDL, that is over here. So we have got finally two loads, point load as well as UDL over the crane girder. Now I need to calculate this reactions, because wheel load is nothing, wheel load is, we can say it is the combination of we can say reactions. So for that one we need to calculate RC and RD. Let's take moment at C. Just a minute, let me just zoom in the criteria. Okay, say first of all, if you are going to take moment at C, say RD into anti-clockwise dimension, that is 18, moment will be anti-clockwise, so RD into 18, you can see over here RD into 18. Then this point load will be acting downward, it is acting clockwise towards the C, so 325 into dimension, that is 1.2, so 325 into 1.2, clear. And then this UDL, it is acting over the entire span, it will also act in the clockwise direction. Load into distance into half distance, so 11.67 into distance 18 into 18 by 2. Okay, so by simplifying the term I will get the answer, that is, just a minute, so answer will be we can say 126.67 kilonewton. That will be my reaction RD, this one. Now next RC, sigma V equals to 0, upward equals to downward, so RC and RD upward, and downward force will be 325 as well as this UDL. So ultimately RC will be this total load minus this RD. Okay, so total load 325, then this total UDL 11.67, and it is acting on the span of 18 meter, minus RD, that is 126. By simplifying the term I will get the value of RC 408. So just a minute, now let me show the data. Yeah, so I've got the answer RC and RD. Okay, now we need to consider maximum out of these two. Obviously maximum will be this one. Okay, so maximum reaction will be 408.33 kilonewton. Now maximum reaction is 408. Now each reaction is includes we can say two wheels. Okay, at the each end of the crane girder there are two wheels. Okay, so load on each wheel equals to, it will be divided by 2, means we will get the load on each wheel. So 408 divided by 2, our answer is 204.07 kilonewton. So this indicates the 204.07 kilonewton load is acting on each wheel of the crane girder. Now for the EOT crane girder, for impact, it is this load is increased by 25%. Okay, so design load on each wheel equals, so it is increased by 25%, so multiply by 1.25 into our original load 204.07, so our final answer will be 255.21. okay, and I have given over here the core criteria also. For EOT crane girder, impact factor is taken as 25% as per clause number 6.1, page number 15, 875 part. Now for, as we have gone the designed load, now we can calculate the factor load easily as per the limit set method. So let's convert it into the factor, multiply by 1.5, so our answer will be 382.81 kilonewton. Let's convert it into round figure value, that is 383 kilonewton. Okay, so this is the step number 1 in which we got the finally designed wind load, or we can say the wheel load 383 kilonewton. So now step number 2, this is the maximum bending moment in the gantry girder in the vertical plane. So what we need to do, see, just a minute, let me take it to the once again sketch over here. Now we have calculated this each wheel load is of 383 kilonewton, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Now drawing this gantry girder as a beam, and there are two loads are acting, this wheel load and this wheel load. Now we need to make arrangement of this crane girder over gantry girder in such a way that the maximum bending moment will occur below this point load, or we can say below this wheel. Okay, so let me do a beam of we can say gantry girder, that is this one, and two loads will be acting like this. So we are going in step number 2. See, maximum BM in the gantry girder in the vertical plane, this one. So for that one I have given somewhat note for you. Okay, you do not need to write this one in the exam. I have just given you for your education purpose. See, put the left wheel of the left wheel, we can say the first wheel of the crane girder at the distance of 1/4 of wheelbase from the center of gantry girder towards the left hand side. Okay, first of all let me show you in the sketch. Okay, how we need to arrange this one, what we need to take. See, first of all we need to draw a gantry girder span that is like this one, this one. Okay, this is the gantry girder span. Now first of all, yeah, you can see over here span of gantry girder 6.2. then we need to take the center of this one, C. So it will be, say total span is 6.2 meters, so the center will be 3.1, as well as this one is also 3.1. so this one is the center of this one. Now what we need to do, see, from the center, see, this is our wheelbase. Wheelbase means these are our wheels. The distance between two wheels of the crane girder is known as wheelbase. That is given to us in the data, that is 3 meter. Now what we need to do, that from the C towards the left hand side, okay, we need to take 1/4 of the wheelbase, say this one, 1/4 of wheelbase, 1/4 of 3, that is 0.75. say at this distance put the first wheel of the crane girder over here. Okay, and similarly on the right hand side of the center, say at the distance of 3/4 of wheelbase, okay, say 3/4 of 3, that is 2.25, put the second wheel of the crane girder over here. Okay, so this one is the parameters of the placing two wheels of the crane girder over the gantry girder. Okay, so what I have done, okay, let me just show you a little bit summary. I have taken the center of this one, then from the center towards the left hand side at the distance of 1/4 of wheelbase, I have put the first wheel of the crane girder, and from the center towards the right hand side at the distance of 3/4 of wheelbase, I have put the second wheel of the crane girder. Okay, now I am having all the dimensions. See, I am having this dimension center 3.1 and this dimension is 0.75. So 3.1 minus 0.75, I will get this dimension, that is 2.35 meter. Okay, similarly on the right hand side, same parameters. I have got the center distance, that is 3.1, and this one is 2.25. so 3.1 minus 2.25, I will get this answer, that is 0.85 meter. Okay, so I have got the arrangement. See, if I will put two wheels of the crane girder like this in this situation, then maximum bending moment will occur below this point load, or we can say below this wheel. Okay, so for that one we already have calculated these two loads, 383 kilonewton, that these are the wheel loads of the crane girder. Now we need to calculate the self weight of gantry girder. Now for that one, see, for the self weight, and see in the arrangement which I have done in the figure, I have given the explanation over here. See, first one, put the left wheel, or we can say first wheel of the crane girder at the distance of 1/4 of wheelbase from the center of gantry girder towards the left hand side. Okay, and then for the second one, put the right wheel, or we can say the second wheel of the crane girder at the distance of 3/4 of wheelbase from the center of gantry girder towards the right hand side, or we can say at the distance of wheelbase from the first wheel. Obviously, see, this one is my first wheel, then second wheel will be obviously at the distance of wheelbase only. Okay, you can use that concept also. So you do not need to write this explanation in the exam, this is just for your understanding. Okay, now let's calculate the self weight of the gantry girder. For that one, assume the self weight of the gantry girder, okay, that is 1.7 kilonewton per meter. Usually it is ranging in the range of 1.6 to 1.7 kilonewton per meter. Then self weight of the rail section is not given to us in the data, it is usually taken as 300 newton per meter. These are the standard criteria for the rail section, so I have assumed it as a 300 newton per meter. Let's convert it into kilonewton per meter, that is 0.3 kilonewton per meter. So now total UDL will be self weight of the gantry girder plus weight of the rail section, that is 1.7 plus 0.3, so answer is 2 kilonewton per meter. Okay, and then finally let's convert it into the factor, that is multiply by 1.5. so answer will be 3 kilonewton per meter. So that's my criteria, say this UDL that is of 3 kilonewton per meter. Now so I have already made this arrangement, so now as per this arrangement I will get the maximum bending moment over here. But in order to calculate the maximum bending moment, first of all I need to calculate these two reactions, RA and RB. Okay, so let's take moment at A. Say first of all RB into anti-clockwise moment, that is total dimension is 6.2, so RB into 6.2. Then clockwise moment 383 into 2.35, 383 into 2.35 plus similarly 383 into this whole dimension, 2.35 plus 3 meter of wheelbase means 5.35, so 383 into 5.35. then this entire UDL, it will be also clockwise, load into distance into half distance, 3 into 6.2 into 6.2 by 2 means square by 2. Clear? So this will be my reactions criteria. So from this I will get the value of RB. See, I have done the same thing at the below. See, maximum bending moment will occur at A, so sigma MA equals to 0. You can see RB into 6.2, 380 into 2.35, 3 plus 383 into 5.35 plus 3 into 6.2 into 6.2 by 2, so I will get the value of RB 484.96 kilonewton. Then if I want to calculate RA, let's deduct RB from the total load. Total load is 383 plus 383 plus 3 into 6.2 span is 6.2 meter, that will be my total load, and deduct RB from that one. Okay, see total load 383 plus 383, then UDL 3 into 6, 6.2, again printing mistake is there, 6.2 minus our reaction 484.96, so I will get the value of RA from this one, 299.64 kilonewton. Here, so we have got the value of RB as well as RA. Okay, now I can take the moment at A and B, but I know that maximum bending moment will at A only. So if we are going to take moment at A, just a minute, now at A, so we can say RA into 2.35 clockwise, so moment at A equals to RA into 2.35, we already got the value of RA. Then this UDL's moment will be anti-clockwise, so minus UDL 3 into 2.35 into 2.35 by 2, or we can say 1.18 meter, like that we will get the value of, we can say, MA. See, RA, that is 299.64, RA into 2.35 minus, we can say 3 into 2.35 into 2.35 by 2, that is 1.18 meter. So I got the MA, that is 695.87 kilonewton into meter. That's the value of MA. Then let's calculate moment at B also. Okay, over here we can calculate from left hand side also, but I will calculate it from the right hand side by using the sign convention rule, anti-clockwise plus clockwise minus. So RB into 0.85 anti-clockwise moment, so that's plus RB into 0.85. okay, then this UDL's clock moment will be clockwise, that's minus 3 into 0.85 into 0.85 by 2, or we can say 0.425, 0.85 by 2, like that. Okay, so that will be moment of B. Say RB, that is 484.96, okay, you can see over here, into 0.85 minus 3 times 0.85 into 0.85 by 2, that is 0.425. say for in making 2 digits it is 0.43, so I will get the value of MB 411.13 kilonewton into meter. Okay, so I have got the value of MA and MB, and as we have discussed in the theory, maximum bending moment will be under the first load, that is under the A. So MZ, that stands for maximum bending moment, that is MA, 695.87 kilonewton into meter. Now what does this indicate? That the gantry girder which we are going to design need to resist this much bending moment. Okay, so this one is our requirement. So let's draw the diagram, BM diagram. See, this one is our A, this one is our B. Then as load is UDL, so under A moment is 695.87 and under B moment is 411.13. So as load is UDL, so shape will be parabolic curve, so it will be like this. Okay, and positive. So this is our BM diagram. So that is step number 2 for us. Clear? Now step number 3, that is maximum SF in gantry girder. Okay, so for that one, let me take you to the once again that main figure of the chapter. See, now we know that maximum shear force usually occur at the support, means at the reaction. So what we need to do, we need to shift this crane girder either towards this end, or we can say towards this end. Okay, at any one of the end the crane girder should be there. So what I will do, that I will shift this crane girder from here to here. So it will shift like this, it will come over here, first wheel over here, second wheel over here, like this. Okay, so just a minute. See, so what I'm doing, I'm just shifting this crane girder. See, these are the two wheels of the crane girder. I'm moving this one towards starting point over here. Okay, so first wheel will be at this point. Just a minute. So first wheel of the crane girder comes over here. Obviously second wheel will be at the distance of wheelbase, that is over here. Okay, and we have already calculated self height of the gantry girder, that is 3 kilonewton per meter. Total span is 6.2. This wheelbase is 3 meters, so the remaining dimension will be length minus wheelbase, that is 3.2 meters. Clear? So I have made this arrangement. By this arrangement I will get the maximum shear force under this wheel. Okay, so ultimately RA will be maximum. So I will take moment at B directly and calculate RA. Say moment at B equals to, we can say RA into 6.2, that is clockwise moment. So RA into 6.2, that's the first case, equals to, now let's talk about anti-clockwise. First, entire UDL will be anti-clockwise as it will be acting towards the right hand side, equals to 3 into entire span 6.2 into 6.2 by 2. Then this 383 into 3.2, 383 into 3.2 plus this 383 into entire span, that is 6.2. So 383 into 6.2. So from this one I will get the value of RA. Okay, see, I've done the same thing. RA into 6.2 equals to UDL 3 into 6.2 into 6.2 by 2 plus 3.83 into 3.2 plus 383 into 6.2. So ultimately I will get the value of RA, 589.98. And as per this arrangement, this will be the maximum shear force. So this will be my maximum shear force, RA, 589.98 kilonewton. So I've got this one. Okay, so this one is the maximum shear force requirement for us. So we need to design a gantry girder which can resist this much maximum, we can say, shear force. Okay, then the horizontal surge load criteria. For that one, just a minute. See, now horizontal, or we can say the surge load transfers to the rail section. See, total surge load. Say surge load is the load which is acted upon gantry girder by the movement of the trolley over the crane girder. Okay, so surge loads criteria will be, it is taken as, we can say, 10%. Okay, so 10% of hook load plus clap load. So 10% means 0.10 of Hook load, that is nothing but we can say crane capacity, and grab load is nothing, we can say load of trolley or trolleys, or we can say trolley's weight. So we have already calculated this one, crane capacity, and we can say crane capacity and weight of trolley. You can see over here we have already calculated this one, 325. So 10% of this one, that will be 32.5. Clear? So let's go back to the step number 3. See, 10% of 325, that is we can say 32.5. Okay, now this load is set by 4 wheels. As such load is produced by the trolley, there are 4 wheels in the trolley, so ultimately each load will be set by the 4 wheels. So load on each wheel will be, we can say total surge load divided by 4. So that is 32.5 divided by 4. Answer is 8.13 kilonewton. That's the surge load. Now let's convert it into the factor load, multiply by 1.5. So multiply by 1.5, I will get the answer 12.19 kilonewton. Let's convert it as a round figure value, that is 13 kilonewton. So this is our surge load which is produced by the crab over the gantry girder. Now we have already got the maximum bending moment in step number 2, that was over here for 695 kilonewton. Sorry, 695.87 kilonewton into meter. Now this bending moment is produced because of this wheel load. Say for 383 kilonewton, this moment is getting produced 695. So in the similar way, we need to calculate the bending moment produced by the surge load also. So I'm going to use the proportion over here. Say at the load of 383 kilonewton, the moment was 695.87 kilonewton into meter. So at the factor surge load, that is 13 kilonewton, it is how much? So by proportion, I will get the value, say my equals to 695.87 multiplied by 13 divided by 383. So ultimately I will get the my, that is 23.62 kilonewton into meter. Let's highlight this data, we will need this one in the later on stage. Okay, so we have got the surge load, this one, and the moment due to surge load, that is this one. Okay, now we need to calculate the braking force also. Say braking force, and this force act along the rail section. Okay, so whenever the crane girder starts and stops over the gantry girder, at that time the force produced is known as braking force. It is usually taken as 5%, we can say over here 5% of static wheel load. See, 5% of static wheel load means 0.05. Static wheel load means nothing, we can say 2 times load on each wheel. So ultimately that is nothing, we can say this is the maximum reaction we have already calculated in step number 1. Just a minute, let me take you in the step number 1. See, this was our maximum reaction. Yeah, this one 408.33. okay, so we need to consider this force over here. Just a minute. See, so 0.05% of 408.33. So ultimately I got the answer 20.42 kilonewton, and let's convert it into the factor as per the limit state method. So factor braking force equals to 1.5 multiplied by 20.42. So ultimately I will get the answer, that is 30.63. and this is 2 into load on each wheel. The concept is simple, there on each and every gantry girder there are 2 wheels of the crane girder. Okay, that's the basic concept of this one. Okay, so now, so these are the first 3 steps of the gantry girder. Let's go back to the step number 4, that is section selection for the gantry girder. Now, like plate girder, gantry girder is also the built up section. Okay, so for first of all, let us calculate the requirement criteria for the design of the gantry girder. For that one, see step number 4, section for the gantry girder. So first of all, economic depth of gantry girder. Okay, the formula stands for L by 12, where L span of gantry girder, that is 6.2 meter. Let's convert it into mm. 6200 divided by 12. So I will get the answer 516.67 mm. So that's my criteria for the depth. The next, width of flange BF. It is in the range of L by 40 to L by 30. That is 6200 divided by 40 to 6200 divided by 30. So I will get the answer 155 to 206.67 mm. Okay, and then the plastic section modulus requirement ZP. So ZP's formula is K into MA by Fy. K, that is always taken as 1.4, MA, that is maximum bending moment, we have already calculated 695.87 into 10 raised to 6, and Fy, that is 250. By simplifying the term, we will get the answer 3896.86 into 10 raised to 3 mm cube. Let's convert it into centimeter cube. So 3896.86 centimeter cube. See, so this is our data requirement to select the gantry girder. But now as we can see the depth of the gantry girder, okay, that is 516. Now we have in the roll section maximum dimension IMMB 600 and ISWB 600. These are our maximum roll section depth criteria. Okay, right now our depth requirement is less than 600, though we cannot select this as a gantry girder section because of just one simple parameters, that theoretically we can say that gantry girder is always a built up section, it is never a roll section. So though if we select this section, it will match, or we can say it will meet all these requirement criteria, but whenever we will provide check, then check will definitely not satisfied, because the section which we are selecting is a roll section, and basically gantry girder is always a built up section. Okay, so we will design the gantry girder in a similar way like we were selecting the section in the case of the plate girder. Okay, so I am going to select the dimension of the gantry girder like we were selecting in the plate girder. Okay, so just a minute. See, I have given the statement over here. As gantry girder is built up section, a welded plate girder is designed for the gantry girder. Gantry girder is always a built up section. So to design the dimension of the gantry girder, select the dimensions by the plate girder design method. I am just using the design which I approach in the plate girder. Okay, so just a minute. Now, so first of all, web plates criteria. Say optimum depth of girder, small d equals to mk by f, 5 raised to 0.33. Unknown, m maximum bending moment, that we have already get 695.87 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. Then k, that is always assume as 150, that we were designing under the unstiffened plate girder, and fy, that is 250. So let's put down all this value over here. 695.87 into 10 raised to 6, k 150, fy 250, whole raised to 0.33. So I will get the answer 699.56. So let's take the round figure value as a 700 mm. So I got the depth of the gantry girder, means web, that is 700. Now let's assume the thickness of web. See, always assume the thickness of web in such a way that d by tw ratio comes 50. Now I have already get the value of d, that is how much? 700. Okay, so let's do 700 by 50, then I will get the value of tw. So 700 by 50, I will get the tw as 14 mm. See, this is my simple criteria for designing a gantry girder. In this manner, I will get each and every check satisfied for that one. So this is my own method. I always used to assume tw in such a way that d by tw ratio comes 50. Okay, you can assume by your own also. So I am assuming the thickness of web, that is 14 mm. Okay, so dimension of the, we can say, web 700 cross 14 mm. That's the criteria for the, we can say, web. Now let's go to the flange. Now for flange, we have already seen this one in the plate girder design, that the for flange to be plastic, b by tf should be always less than 8.4 epsilon for the plastic design. Table number 2, page number 18 criteria. Okay, so we can say b equals to 8.4 tf. Okay, as epsilon's value is 1, this one, by using this formula. So now we have, just a minute. Now if I am concerned about, we can say, just a minute. See, we have already get this data. This depth is 700 and this one is 40. Now we need to design this flange, this one. So for that one assumption parameter is there. Assume the thickness of flange, that is this one, that is always as 25 mm. See, assume the thickness of flange tf, that is 25 mm. Then we can say this one is our bf, width of flange. This one from the center, it is always b. So I can say bf equals to, we can say, twice b. I can use this criteria. Okay, but right now what I'm doing, I have already assumed tf as 25. Let's put down this value over here and let's calculate b. So b will be 8.4 into 25. So I've got the answer b, that is 210. B means this dimension from center to edge dimension B. I can say this BF equals to, I can use the parameters twice B. Okay, so I'm using the same parameters over here. BF equals to twice B. Now B's value is 210, so 2 into 210, that is 420. So ultimately round figure value will be 450 mm. Okay, so I got the finally dimension of the flange, that is 450 by 25 mm. So this one is the width and this one is the thickness which I assume. Okay, so finally I got all the dimensions of the gantry girder. See, this one is 25, depth is 700, this one is 25, so our total depth will be 750. Okay, so this one is step number 4, in which what we have done, that we have designed the dimension of the gantry girder. Now step number 5, that is minimum web thickness requirement. Now minimum web thickness requirement criteria will be that I have already covered this one, d by tw, that is, we can say I have kept this one as a 50, it should be less than 67. Okay, and let me take you to the code, just a minute. For this one, just a minute, on page number 63, as I am using the plastic design approach method for this one, then this ratio, just a minute, yeah, over here, see, in the plastic design approach we were using the d by tw which is greater than 67 epsilon. Okay, but as plastic design, or we can say the plate girder method, okay, in the plate girder is a quite large section compared to the gantry girder section. We were taking this criteria in the, we can say, plate girder, d by tw should be greater than 67, but in our case e by tw ratio should be less than 67 epsilon, as gantry girder design is not as much bigger, or we can say larger compared to the plate girder. Okay, so just a minute. So right now d by tw ratio is 50, less than 67 epsilon, and it's okay, condition is getting satisfied, so I can say design the girder as a beam. Okay, now step number 6, that is calculation of, we can say, moment of inertia, elastic section, plastic section modulus, and elastic section modulus. Okay, now we are going to use all these 3 parameters in the coming steps of the check. Okay, so for that one, what we need to do, we need to carry out this all calculations. So first of all, let's calculate area of the plate girder, gantry girder. Say first of all this one and this one, 450 cross 25 multiply by 2 times. Okay, 2 flanges are there, so that is plus the wave dimension, that is central one, 700 cross 40, that is 700 cross 40. Clear? So that will be the area of the gantry girder. Just a minute. Yeah, you can see 2 times 450 cross 25 and wave dimension, that is 700 cross 14. So I will get the area 32300 mm square. Now next we need to carry out x bar and y bar. CG, say x bar, as it is a symmetrical I section, so x bar will be, we can say, this dimension. This will be my, just a minute, this will be my x bar, that is bf by 2, we can say 450 by 2, it is, we can say, 225. Okay, similarly y bar, so it will be, we can say, the central, this one, overall depth, that is this one, divided by 2, that is 750 divided by 2, so it will be 375. Okay, that will be our y bar. Just a minute, you can see, say x bar 450 by 2 and y bar 750 by 2. Okay, so you've got the CG over here. Now let's calculate moment of inertia. So first of all, with respect to x-axis and y axis, say x-axis, that is typical box method, we can say capital BD cube by 12, that is 450 into 750 cube by 12. Okay, 450, just a minute, into 750 cube by 12, and from that one deduct the central portion, this one. So 450 minus thickness of web, so 450 minus thickness of web, that was 14, into this depth. Okay, that is 700 cube by 12. So by using this method, this is called box section method, I will get the moment of inertia with respect to x axis directly. See, I have done the same thing over here. Moment of inertia, 450 into 750 cube by 12 minus 450 minus 14 into 700 cube by 12. So I will get the answer 3.36 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. Now similarly I need to calculate moment of inertia with respect to y axis also. So for that one, just a minute. Yeah, so with respect to y axis means dB cube by 12, two flanges are there, this one and this one. Left is 25, so 25 into width, that is 450, 25 into 450 cube by 12 multiply by 2 times, plus the central wave portion, that is this one, 700 into 14 cube by 12, 700 into 14 cube by 12. Clear? That will be moment of inertia with respect to y axis. See, 2 times 25 into 450 cube by 12 plus 700 into 14 cube by 12. So I will get the answer 0.38 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. Clear? So I have got area, CG, then MI also. Now elastic section modulus with respect to x and y axis. So first of all, with respect to x axis, we can say Z is Z. Formula stands for Iz divided by y bar. Iz, that is Ixx. We have already get the value of Ixx. Just a minute. That is 3.36 into 10 raised to 9. And y bar, we have already get the value of y bar. That is 375. Okay. By simplifying the term, I will get the value of Z is Z. That is 8.95 into 10 raised to 6 mm cube. Okay. Then Zy. See, Zy, we need to calculate elastic section modulus of only compression flange. So ultimately formula will be Zy equals to Iy divided by x bar. Okay. Now Iy, that will be the typical moment of inertia of the flange only with respect to y axis. Okay. So for that one, just a minute, we need to calculate moment of inertia of this flange only with respect to y axis. So dB cube by 12. So ultimately 25 into 450 cube by 12. Clear? That will be Iy of the flange only. So see, 25 into 450 cube by 12. So I got the value of Iy 189.84 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4. Now I need to put down this value over here. So Zy equals to Iy by divided by x bar, that is 189.84 into 10 raised to 6, and x bar, that is 225. So I will get the value of Zy 0.84 into 10 raised to 6 mm cube. So that's the criteria of the Zy. Then similarly I need to calculate plastic section modulus with respect to x as well as with respect to y axis. First of all, plastic section modulus with respect to x. So let's go back to the figure once again. See, so for this one, what we need to do, we need to calculate the ZP of this section up to the center, this one as well as this one. Okay, and then we need to multiply it with 2. So first of all, let's talk about the flange area, 450 into 25, and its CG with respect to center. So area 450 multiplied by 25, this one is our area, and talking about CG, then flange CG is 25 by 2 plus wave CG, that is this one, 330 will be there, says 700 by 2, like that. So this one is the flange criteria, whole multiplied by 2. Okay, this one is only up to the flange. Then similarly we need to calculate this wave also, this portion. Width is 14 and depth is 350. Okay, So 14 into 350, and its CG will be obviously at the center, so this dimension, so 350 by 2, again whole multiply by 2, that will be ZP of the wave. Okay, see, I have done the same thing over here. Let me zoom the data. Just a minute. Yeah, see, this one is the flange portion, 450 multiplied by 25 into this y bar, that is 25 by 2 into 700 by 2. Similarly, this one is the half wave portion, 14 into 700 by 2 was there, that is 350 into 350 by 2, that is 700 by 4, and whole multiply by 2 times. By simplifying the term, I will get the answer, this one, 9.87 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to cube, and this ZP should be greater than our requirement criteria, which we have got in the step number 4. Just a minute, over here you can see this one, 3.89 into 10 raised to 6. If I am converting into 10 raised to 6, then it will be 3.89 into 10 raised to 6. Okay, and our ZP has come, just a minute, our ZP has come 9.87, so there is no problem with that one. And similarly, I need to calculate plastic section modulus with respect to y axis also, and again with respect to y axis. So similarly, like in elastic modulus, what we have done, we calculated the elastic section modulus of compression flange only. So similarly, we need to calculate plastic modulus of also once again of the flange only. Okay, so for that one, just a minute, what we need to do, that, just a minute, see, we need to calculate moment of inertia, elastic plastic section modulus of this section only. This half def will be, we can say, 2 to 5. Oh, BF is 450, so this will be 2 to 5, and dimension is this one. So 25 into 2 to 5 into with respect to center, it's CG, so that is 2 to 5 by 2, like this, and whole multiply by 2 once again, because this portion is also there. Okay, now, so see, ZPY, so 2 times 25, 450 by 2, that is 2 to 5, and 450 by 4, that is 2 to 5 by 2. So ultimately I will get the answer 1.27 into 10 to 6 mm cube. Okay, so see, these are the parameters which I am going to use in the coming following steps. So I have calculated it, all the unknown parameters like area, CG, MI, then elastic section modulus with respect to XX and Y axis, ZZ, ZY, and plastic section modulus with respect to XX and YY, that is ZPZ and ZPY. Okay, so I am stopping this video right now, okay, as it is quite much long. In the next video I am going to complete this design. Okay, right now myself, Assistant Professor Gaurang Prajapati, signing off.